Kaiten, literal translation, return to heaven, commonly rendered as turn of the heavens wool, the Heaven Shaker, were man torpedoes and suicide craft, used by the Imperial Japanese Navy in the final stages of World War II. History. In recognition of the unfavorable progress of the war, toward the end of 1943 the Japanese High Command considered suggestions for various suicide craft. These were initially rejected, but later deemed necessary. Various suicide mission vehicles were developed in the Japanese Special Attack Units. For the Navy, this meant kamikaze planes, Shinyo suicide boats, Kaiten submarines, and Fukuryu suicide divers or human mines. The kamikazes were somewhat successful, and the second most successful were the Kaitens. Research on the first Kaiten began in February 1944, followed on July 25 of the same year by the first prototype. By August 1, an order for 100 units had been placed. Development. The very first Kaiten was nothing much more than a Type 93 torpedo engine compartment attached to a cylinder that would become the pilot's compartment with trimming ballast in place of the warhead and other electronics and hydraulics. The torpedo's pneumatic gyroscope was replaced by an electric model and controls were installed which gave the pilot full control of the weapon. The original designers and testers of this new weapon were Lieutenant Hiroshi Kuroki and Lieutenant Seikyo Nishina. They were both to die at the controls of Kaiten, Lieutenant Kuroki in a very early training prototype. In total 6 models of Kaiten were designed, Types 1, 2, 4, 5 and 6 being based on the Type 93 torpedo. The Type 10 was the only model based on the Type 92 torpedo. Types 2, 4, 5, 6, and 10 were only manufactured as prototypes and never used in combat. Early designs allowed the pilot to escape after the final acceleration toward the target. There is no record of any pilot attempting to escape or intending to do so, and this provision was dropped from later Kaiten, so that, once inside, the pilot could not unlock the hatches. The Kaiten was fitted with a self-destruct control, intended for use if an attack failed or the impact fuse failed. Pilots. The island of Otsushima in the inland sea was used as a training site. It was equipped with cranes, torpedo testing pits and launch ramps, and had a large shallow bay for test running and firing. The Kaiten Memorial Museum is now situated there. Kaiten pilots were all men aged between 17 and 28. Initial training consisted of sailing fast surface boats by periscope and instrument readings alone. When a pilot had advanced past this basic training, he would begin training on Kaitens. Training craft were fitted with a dummy warhead that contained telemetry equipment and an emergency blowing tank that could return the craft to the surface should the trainee dive to a dangerous depth. Kaiten training started with basic circular runs to and from a fixed landmark at a reduced speed. The training advanced to faster and more hazardous runs around rocks and through channels in deeper waters. The more difficult runs required the pilot to surface and check the periscope repeatedly and also required conscientious adjusting of trim tank levels because of the reducing weight as oxygen was used up. When the instructors were confident of the pilot's abilities, he would be advanced to training in open waters against target ships. Training at this level was often done at full attack speed and at night or in twilight. The final phase of training would be a submarine launch and more open water attack runs on target ships. Training was dangerous, and 15 men died in accidents, the most common being from collision with the target vessel. Although the warheads were only dummies, the impact at ramming speed was enough to not only cripple the Kaiten but also severely injure the pilot. In action, the Kaiten was always operated by one man, but the larger training models, Types 2, 4, and 5, could carry 2 or even 4. Kaiten pilots who were leaving for their final missions would leave testaments and messages behind for their loved ones. Deployment. Kaiten were designed to be launched from the deck of a submarine or surface ship, or from coastal installations as a coastal defense weapon. The cruiser Kitakami was equipped to launch Kaiten and took part in sea launch trials of Type 1s. In addition, several destroyers of the Matsu class were also adapted to launch the weapon. In practice, only the Type 1 craft, using the submarine delivery method, were ever used in combat. Specially equipped submarines carried 2 to 6 Kaden, depending on their class. The Kaden were lashed to the host vessel on wooden blocks with a narrow access tube connecting the submarine to the lower hatch of the Kaden. This allowed the Kaden crew to enter from the host submarine while submerged. Kaden had a very limited diving depth, which in turn limited the diving depth of the host submarine. This is one of several factors blamed for the very poor survival rate of submarines using them, 8 submarines being lost for the sinking of only 2 enemy ships and damage to several others. Once the target was acquired and the host submarine was within range, the pilot was briefed, the Kaden's starting air bottles were charged and the cockpit was ventilated. The pilot then entered the vessel, the gyroscope was programmed with the correct bearing and depth and the pilot was given his final briefing. The Kaden separated from the host submarine and headed at speed in the direction fed into the gyroscope. Once within final attack range, the Kaden would surface and the pilot would check his range and bearing via periscope and make any adjustments necessary. He would then submerge to a suitable depth, arm the warhead and proceed on his final attack run. If he missed, he could make adjustments and try again. If the mission failed, he would detonate his vessel as a last resort. Types. Of the 6 different type classes created, only 4 were ever significant enough to be noted by the American technical missions to post-war Japan. Type 1. Only the Type 1, a one-man model with a 1,550 kilograms, 3,420 pounds, warhead, was used operationally. Over 300 were built, more than 100 of which were sent on suicide missions. General arrangement. The Type 93 torpedo formed the majority of this model of Kaden, with the only alterations being the warhead yield being increased from 490 kilograms, 1,080 pounds, and the control planes enlarged and altered to allow both gyroscope and pilot control. Between the torpedo warhead and the engine section is the torpedo compressed air flask, 6 or 8 in later models, steering air bottles and the forward trim tank, followed by the control area and the pilot's seat. In later models, the 5.5 liters, 9.7 mpT, tetrachloromethane starting air bottle is located in the cockpit and a further smaller trimming tank is supplied for use at initial launch. The engine section is slotted in above the aft trim tank with the joint protected by a sheet metal cowl. The pilot's compartment was entered from below through the lower hatch, which was mated to the host submarine. There was a small hand-operated periscope with a vertical range of about 70 centimeters, controls to arm and detonate the weapon if the attack failed, and steering, velocity and depth controls. Batteries to power the 20,000 RPM gyroscope were located under the pilot's seat. The air was filtered by sodium peroxide stored in the pilot's compartment. The Type 6 Kaden was a Type 1 with a modified forward air tank. Performance. After initial trials in water, it was decided to have a maximum surface cruising speed and, for technical reasons, a minimum running speed at any depth of 9.5 km per hour, 5.1 knots, and a submerged running trim of 13° nose down. During development and use, several problems were encountered, the most pressing being major water leaks into the pilot's chamber during transport and deep diving, and explosions caused by ingress of water into the torpedo engine. These were never fully eliminated during the weapon's active service. Specifications. Total weight, 8.3 tons, 9.1 short tons. Length, 14.75 m, 48 feet 5 in. Diameter, 1 m, 3 feet 3 in. Warhead 1,550 kilograms, 3,420 pounds. Detonation mechanism, contact, manual electric fuse. Engine, Type 93 torpedo engine. Wet heater double action reciprocating 2-cylinder 410 kilowatts, 550 HP. Propellant, kerosene and oxygen. Maximum range, 78 kilometers, 42 nmi. Cruising speed, 22 km per hour, 12 knots. Maximum speed, 56 km per hour, 30 knots. Maximum operating depth, 80 m, 260 feet. Number built, approximate 330 produced. Type 2. In late 1944, Type 2 prototypes were tested in dry dock and in controlled submerged conditions, however they never met a standard satisfactory for open water running. General arrangement. The Type 2 was fueled by diesel fuel oxidized by the product of the reaction between hydrogen peroxide and hydrazine hydrate catalyzed by potassium cuprocyanide. Water was also used as a diluent in the combustion cycle. The engine was a custom design specifically created to satisfy the requirements of the Kaiten. It was of a U8 configuration and was in the aft compartment of the vessel. This compartment was open to the sea, with seawater used as coolant. The complete operation of the engine had to be simple for a pilot who was already under immense stress, so it was designed to be controlled by a single lever. The general construction of the Type 2 is substantially different than that of the Type 1. In the forward part of the vessel is the warhead, followed by the fuel, trimming and 2 steering air tanks. The forward part of the midsection is occupied by the 2,600 liters, 570 imp gal, hydrogen peroxide chamber. This cylindrical tank required a complicated construction of welding 5 ribs evenly spaced around the circumference, then coating the inside of the tank with tin, then asphalt, and finally with a thick tin plating. Construction of each tank took on average 2 weeks and the skill required was very high. Behind the peroxide chamber is the pilot's compartment. This is much more complex with more controls than that of the Type 1. From fore to aft controls available to the pilot are, depth control gear, trim tank controls, electric switches, gyroscope, rudder control, engine control lever, gauges for various applications, warhead safety gear, engine starter, fuel flow control, and lights with their respective switches. In the aft quarter of the vessel is found the battery for the gyroscope and other electrics, the aft trim tanks and 2 hydrazine hydrate containers. These containers are made of steel lined with a rubber bag to prevent seawater, used to force the hydrazine hydrate to the engine, and the hydrazine hydrate from coming into contact with each other. Immediately behind these tanks is an auxiliary water tank, then the engine compartment. The engine compartment is always completely filled with seawater, so it only has mechanical components. Immediately after the midsection is the generator, the engine, the reduction gears, and finally the propeller and control planes. Performance. The Type 2 had several improvements over the Type 1. It could stay relatively reliably on course with no pilot input and could withstand depths twice as deep as those of the Type 1. Many problems were encountered in the design and engineering of the Type 2, mostly relating to the engine. In initial tests, water pressure caused deformation and seizing of the engine. Although strengthening was added, the problem was never fully resolved. Once the engine was installed in a prototype Type 2, it was unable to reach the required power rating, and this, along with the complexity of the manufacturing process of the Type 2 itself, led to the abandonment of the project. Specifications. Total weight, 18.37 tons, 18.08 long tons. Length, 16.5 m, 54 feet. Diameter, 1.35 m, 4.4 feet. Warhead 1,500 kilograms, 3,300 pounds. Detonation mechanism, contact, manual electric fuse. Engine, 4.3 liters, 260 cu in, U8 engine. Wet heater 1110 kilowatts, 1490 HP. Propellant, diesel, hydrogen peroxide, hydrazine hydrate, and seawater. Maximum range, 83 km, 45 nmi. Maximum speed, 75 km per hour, 40 knots. Maximum operating depth, 100 m, 330 feet. Number built, 1 prototype, Hero Naval Arsenal, 1. Type 4. In early 1945, concerned with the slow pace of development and the unreliability of the supply of hydrogen peroxide, the Japanese Admiralty decided to pursue another line of Kaiten development. Engineers responsible for Katen development were opposed to any new work and wished to continue their efforts on development and production of the Type 1. In all, about 50 Type 4 prototypes were made, however they never went into full-scale production and were ultimately abandoned. General arrangement. The Type 4 was an attempt to modify the Katen Type 2, to be fueled by the same kerosene and oxygen combination as the Type 93, Model 3 torpedo. The dimensions, equipment, and engine were all identical to the Type 2, although the arrangement differed in several key areas. The warhead is identical to the Type 2, although some later models had an access cover at the aft end of the warhead. The forward end of the forward section contains the air vessels. There are 4 in this section, one Type 93 torpedo air vessel flanked either side by 2 small trim tanks on the keel and 3 smaller vessels directly above it. The vessels are held in place simply with wood packing. The smaller air vessels are a proprietary design that took some heavy research to perfect. They are sealed by the pressure of the gas. As the pressure rises, a slackly threaded cap presses up against a sealing ring which is screwed down with another cap, thus making an airtight seal. Directly aft of the air vessels is the fuel tank, which is ringed by the main forward trim tanks. The fuel tank is lightly constructed and contains baffles to prevent sloshing. Just behind this are the 4 steering air bottles. The pilot's space is identical to that of the Type 2, minus hydrogen peroxide specific circuit controls. Immediately behind the pilot are 3 more of the smaller oxygen cylinders, however in some models these are omitted and chairs are placed for training purposes. Between the bulkheads joining this section with the engine section are 2 Type 93 generators, feeding the same Type 6 engine as in the Type 2 Katen. The Type 5 Katen was a Type 4 with a modified forward air vessels. Performance. The first unmanned test runs of the Type 4 at cruising speed were made in early 1945, and it was noted that oxygen efficiency was very low. The same problem occurred in the first test run with a pilot, with sensor readings indicating a large percentage of unburned oxygen in the exhaust gases. The weapon made little progress in development and never exceeded a speed of 40 km per hour in open sea trials. This combined with untraceable leaks in the engine and the consequent inefficiency of the propulsion system led to this design being filed as a failure and its eventual abandonment. The fact that by now the Katen Type 1 was in mass production was also a factor in the cancellation of the Type 4. Specifications. Total weight, 18.17 tons, 20.03 short tons. Length, 16.5 m, 54 feet. Diameter, 1.35 m, 4.4 feet. Warhead 1,800 kilograms, 4,000 pounds. Detonation mechanism, contact, manual electric fuse. Engine, 4.3 liters, 260 cu in, U8 engine. Wet heater 900 kilowatts, 1200 HP. Propellant, kerosene and oxygen. Maximum range, 38 kilometers, 21 nmi. Maximum speed, 37 kilometers per hour, 20 knots. Maximum operating depth, 100 m, 330 feet. Number built, approximate 50 produced. Type 10. The abandonment of the Types 2, 4, and their intermediaries, development of higher capacity batteries, abundance of Type 92 torpedoes and the ever-increasing urgency to be able to defend the Japanese mainland led to a change of methodology for the Katen design teams. The Type 10 is the result. It is essentially a Type 92 electric torpedo with a pilot chamber in between the warhead and drive unit. Over 500 units were ordered to be produced between August and October 1945, however, only around 6, including prototypes, were ever completed. General arrangement. The Type 10 is significantly smaller than the Type 1 and consequently has a much smaller warhead of 300 kilograms, 660 pounds. The forward section of the weapon contains the warhead and the manual electric fuse, but no contact detonator unlike other Katen types. The midsection contains the first set of Type 92 batteries as well as a steering air bottle strapped to the underneath of the weapon. The pilot's compartment contains firing, starting and gyroscope starting switches, as well as a fixed periscope that could only be rotated but not raised or lowered, the rudder control, trim gauge and a sodium peroxide tin for air purification. The latter part of the weapon contained the remainder of the batteries and a small external steering air bottle. The control planes are identical to the Type 92 torpedoes other than having a manually operated rudder fitted. Unlike all previous Catons, the Type 10 only had an upper hatch, so could not be entered from within a host submarine. This reflects the design and operation purpose of the weapon as a land-launched coastal defense weapon. Performance. On paper, this model had several advantages over the previous types. Firstly, it was very simple to construct and maintain. Because it had no pilot controls other than to start and steer, it was not complicated to train pilots to use it. It was powered by electricity and consequently had no issue of weight reduction as the fuel was used up, a problem that had caused headaches for test pilots and combat pilots of all previous models. Unlike other models, the engine of the Type 10 could be stopped and even reversed, although this would be of little practical value in a combat situation. Finally, it was very light and small, so it was easily transported to different bases of operation should the need arise. In practice, however, the Type 10 proved to be troublesome. Water leaks into the battery compartments and pilot's compartment were commonly reported by test pilots. It was also very cramped and uncomfortable for the pilot. The war ended before development could really iron out these problems, so the type never went into mass production. Deployment plans. The Type 10 was designed and intended as a coastal defense weapon to counter the expected invasion of the Japanese mainland by Allied troops. On July 16, 1945, the Imperial Japanese Naval Command ordered the construction of over 500 Type 10s to be stationed and readied for launch from several existing and new Caton bases. Details available in the deployment section above. Specifications. Total weight, 3 tons, 3.3 short tons. Length, 9.0 m, 29.5 feet. Diameter, 0.70 m, 2.3 feet. Warhead 300 kilograms, 660 pounds. Detonation mechanism, manual electric fuse. Engine, electric motor 6 kilowatts, 8.0 HP. Propellant, 112, 28 × 4, battery cells producing 54 V at 120 A. Maximum range, 3.5 kilometers, 1.9 nmi. Maximum speed, 13 kilometers per hour, 7.0 knots. Maximum operating depth, 20 m, 66 feet. Number built, 1 prototype and 2 or 6 produced. Effectiveness. When compared with the Type 93 torpedo, which was surface vessel launched, Caton had the obvious advantages of having a pilot to guide the weapon, and of being launched from a submerged submarine. Despite these advantages, however, they were not nearly as effective on a one-for-one basis as the highly successful Type 93 torpedo on which they were based. United States sources claim that the only sinkings achieved by Caton attacks were the fleet oiler USS Mississinaua, anchored at Ulithi on November 20, 1944, with the loss of 63 men, a small infantry landing craft, LCI 600, with the loss of 3 men, and the destroyer escort USS Underhill while operating northeast of Cape Engano on July 24, 1945, with the loss of 113 men. Contrary to the above, some Japanese sources give much larger numbers of Caton successes. Reasons given for this discrepancy are the fact that the submarine launching the Caton could only estimate success by listening for the detonation of their weapons, also that the size of the explosion after the attack on USS Mississinaua gave the impression of a much larger number of ships sunk. American losses credited to Caton attacks came to a total of 187 officers and men. The losses of Caton crews and support staff were much higher. In total, 106 Caton pilots lost their lives, including 15 killed in training accidents and 2 suicides after the war. In addition to the pilots, 846 men died when 8 Japanese submarines carrying Caton were sunk, and 156 maintenance and support personnel were also killed. This contrasts markedly with the success of the kamikaze pilots. Deployments. First, the Kikusui Group of Cadens was launched against hostile vessels near Ulithi on November 20, 1944. The group consisted of 2 submarines, I-47 and I-36, carrying a total of 8 Kaden. This mission gave the Kaden their first sinking, USS Mississinua, AO-59, but at the cost of all 8 Kaden pilots. The first Kaden launched from I-47 was piloted by Seikyo Nishina, one of the original designers of the weapon. He carried with him the ashes of the other creator, Hiroshi Kuroki, who died in a training accident very early in the Kaden's development. At the same time, submarine I-37 was sighted and engaged by U.S. ships off of Leyte Island. The boat, together with her Kaden, was sunk by hedgehog attack from the destroyers USS Conklin and USS McCoy Reynolds, resulting in the loss of 117 officers and men. Second, the Kong Group of Kaden operation was undertaken on January 9, 1945 against the U.S. anchorage at Hollandia, Ulithi, Manus, and Kassal Roads. I-47 launched a further 4 Kaden but only succeeded in damaging the SS Pontus H. Ross, a small Liberty ship. At Ulithi I-48 was sunk by USS Conklin. None of the 122 men aboard survived. I-36 engaged U.S. ships with Kaden at Ulithi on January 12, 1945. One was destroyed by depth charges from VPB-21 but the others succeeded in damaging USS Mazama, with 8 fatalities, and sinking an infantry landing craft, USS LCI, L-600, with 3 deaths. I-53 succeeded in launching her 4 Kadens, but only 2 traveled any distance and none reached their targets. I-58 launched all 4 Kaden, of which 1 exploded immediately after launch. Sometime after deployment, pillars of smoke were seen in the distance along their general bearing. I-56 failed to even reach the launching areas for her Kadens and returned home without firing a single shot. Third, the Shihaya Group departed on February 20, 1945 for Iwo Jima. I-44 was sighted and hunted for over 2 days underwater. Crew compartment carbon dioxide saturation reached 6% before she managed to escape. I-368 was detected and attacked by a Grumman TBF Avenger on approaching Iwo Jima on February 26 and was sunk by Mark 24 mines with the loss of all 85 hands. I-370 was detected and attacked by USS Finnegan on February 26. After an initial hedgehog and depth charge run, a final depth charge run was commenced and shortly after small explosions and bubbles were observed. I-370 was lost with all 84 officers and men aboard as well as all Kadens and pilots. Fourth, the Shimbyo Group was originally intended to supplement the previous attacks on Iwo Jima and launched on March 1, 1945. I-58 and I-36 were within a day of reaching Iwo Jima when they were recalled for a new operation. Both returned home safely. Fifth, the Tatara Group consisted of I-44, I-47, I-56, and I-58 and was to attack the U.S. anchorage at Okinawa. It sailed on March 28, 1945. On March 29 I-47 was attacked by a squadron of Grumman TBF Avengers and forced to dive. She was pursued for several hours until she had to surface. On surfacing she was hit by shrapnel which damaged the periscope and fuel tanks. She was forced to limp home for repairs. I-56 was detected on approaching Okinawa and hunted by the light carrier USS Bataan and destroyers USS Heermann, USS Ullman, USS Collett, USS McCord, and USS Mertz. Heavy depth charging by aircraft from the carrier and the latter 3 destroyers sank her with all 122 hands on board. I-58 was hounded by aircraft and anti-submarine fire and arrived at her destination late. She returned without engaging the enemy. I-44's location and actions are unknown for the entirety of the mission. A submarine likely to be I-44 was attacked in the vicinity of Okinawa on April 29 by an aircraft from USS Tulagi. The submarine was hit first by a depth charge and finally by a Mark 24 mine. All 129 hands were lost. 6th. The Tembue Group consisted of I-47 and I-36. They were to attack cargo and troop ships between Ulithi and Okinawa. I-47 sailed on April 20 and I-36 on April 22. On April 27 I-36 attempted to attack a convoy of 28 U.S. ships with Kaiten, but with no results. 2 of the Kaiten could not be launched. While cruising east of Okinawa, I-36 sighted a supply vessel sailing unescorted. The commander attempted to launch Kaiten but failed, and a torpedo attack also failed when the torpedoes detonated prematurely. On May 2 I-47 launched 2 Kaiten against 2 U.S. ships, and explosions were heard an hour later, after which I-47 launched 1 Kaiten at an escort vessel. Later research indicates none of the Kaiten launched were successful and the explosions heard were probably from Kaiten pilots self-destructing or anti-submarine action. 7th. The Shimbyo Group consisted solely of I-367 and sailed on May 5, 1945 for northwest Saipan. She was damaged by a mine on May 6 and was unable to continue her mission until May 17. On May 27 I-367 sighted a 4-ship logistics support convoy and launched 2 Kaiten. At least one was destroyed by gunfire from USS Sioux. The other Kaiten carried suffered mechanical failures and were unable to be launched. I-367 returned to base safely. 8th. The Todoroki Group of Kaiten-equipped submarines sailed on May 24 to patrol east of Guam. I-36 sighted a lone oil tanker on June 22 and opened an attack with her Kaiten, which both failed, and 4 conventional torpedoes, which exploded early, damaging USS Endymion, a landing craft repair ship. On June 28 I-36 launched a single Kaiten against USS Antares, which the Antares sank with shell fire and called in a nearby destroyer, the USS Sproston. After the destroyer arrived and began depth charging, the submarine managed to launch one of the faulty Kaiten. Although the pilot failed to hit the destroyer, his actions helped the host submarine slip away. Further ships later arrived to hunt I-36, but she managed to escape with only a minor leak in the forward torpedo room and a damaged rudder. She would not see any further action in the war, and surrendered to the Allies after the official surrender was announced. On June 16 the U.S. submarine USS Devilfish fired 2 torpedoes at the I-165, both of which missed. On June 27, a patrolling Lockheed Ventura sighted I-165 and dropped 3 Mark 47 depth charges which sank her with her crew of 106. I-361 was detected by a minesweeper on May 26, which alerted the aircraft carrier USS Anzio to search for the submarine. 5 days later a patrolling Grumman TBF Avenger detected her and launched a volley of rocket fire, following up with a Mark 24 mine as the boat dived, the explosion of which was felt by the crew of USS Oliver Mitchell 30 km, 16 nmi, away. The crew of 81 were all lost. On May 28 I-363 sighted several ships but was unable to get close enough to launch Kaiten. On June 15 the convoy was attacked with conventional torpedoes because Kaiten could not be launched due to heavy weather. I-363 returned to base safely. 9th. The Taman Group was the last Kaiten-equipped group to go into combat. It was a large force consisting of I-47, I-53, I-58, I-363, I-366, and I-367. They departed on July 14 headed for an area southeast of Okinawa. I-363 and I-367 engaged in no further action before the announcement of unconditional surrender and an end to all hostilities. The I-47 launched a Kaiten at a lone merchant on July 21, but without result. She saw no further action. Sinking of USS Underhill. Arguably the most successful attack by Kaiten was that on USS Underhill commenced on July 24, 1945. She was a unit of the numerous Buckley-class destroyer escort and at the time of sinking was escorting several supply and troop ships. Subsequent to being spotted by a Japanese naval reconnaissance plane, submarine I-53 attached to the Taman Group and carrying 6 Kaiten was redirected to the expected location of the convoy. The submarine launched a decoy mine ahead of the convoy's position, causing the convoy to shift bearing to avoid the mine. This, however, was just diversionary and the mine was a dummy. USS Underhill, after realizing this, noticed several sonar contacts, which were later revealed to be a Japanese submarine and several Kaidan. A depth charge run was made which did not succeed in killing the submarine, although it is suspected that it did succeed in neutralizing one of the Kaidan. The depth charge run was followed by a ramming attempt on a submarine at periscope depth. As the Underhill rammed the surfaced vessel, later revealed to be a Kaidan, it was struck by a second Kaidan waiting in ambush. Both pilots detonated their charges, one of which led to the detonation of the destroyer's boilers, which led to her being torn in half by the explosions. The sinking resulted in the loss of almost half of her complement, including most of the officers. One of the attacking Kaidan also attempted an attack on a cargo vessel, LST-991, but for some reason passed under the ship's keel. This may have been.
Please subscribe and thanks for watching.